Hello everyone, welcome to the Software Testing by JP channel. In this session, we will discuss SDLC, including its phases. We will also cover topics such as the Waterfall model, Spiral model, V model, and more. If you are new to the channel or not subscribed yet, and if you want to support me, please subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon for future video upload updates. We will start today's session. Before starting session 2, let's review what we discussed in session 1. In the first session, we covered topics such as what software is, types of software, the significance of software testing, and why it is essential. We also delved into the distinctions between errors, bugs, and failures, exploring the reasons for bugs. Today's session will focus on SDLC, which stands for Software Development Lifecycle, also known as the Application Development Lifecycle. So, what is SDLC? It is a process used for the development of any software. As displayed on the screen, SDLC is the process employed in software development to plan, write, and modify software. This process is utilized for planning, writing, and modifying applications. We will discuss the phases of SDLC later in this session. SDLC is a systematic process for constructing software that ensures the correctness of the built software. It provides a framework for a standard set of activities and deliverables, ensuring the quality of the product. Using SDLC is crucial for achieving a quality product, as it furnishes a framework for all activities in SDLC phases, such as requirement gathering, design, planning, coding, testing, etc. It outlines the phases present in SDLC for a comprehensive understanding. Now, we will see what the phases of SDLC are. The first phase is requirement analysis. The second one is design, the third one is development, the fourth one is testing, and the last one is maintenance and deployment. These 5 phases are very important in SDLC. Let's explore the activities in SDLC that are covered in each phase. First, we will learn about the requirement analysis phase. In this phase, we collect the requirements, understanding the expectations of the client or customer for the application. Business analysts and project managers set up meetings with clients to comprehend their requirements. In this phase, we primarily gather all the necessary requirements for developing the application. Any confusion, ambiguity, or problems in the requirements are discussed and resolved before moving to the next phase. This requirement analysis phase is crucial, and we can call it requirement gathering and analysis. Once we understand all the customer requirements, we prepare a document called Software Requirement Specification, SRS. This document captures all the necessary information needed for application development. This document should be understood by developers, and it will be reviewed by the customer side. So, you can understand how important this phase is. The SRS created in this phase will be the foundation for the other phases. We will have the design phase after the requirement analysis. In this phase, we design the application using the SRS document. So, the SRS will be the input for the design phase. This design will be done by architects, determining the structure of the application and how all the elements will be designed. Developers will use this design to implement the application. Therefore, we can say the design phase is the input for the development phase. In the requirement analysis stage, we created the SRS document, which serves as the input for the design phase. Now, the design phase becomes the input for the development phase. The development phase is also known as the implementation or coding phase. Here, all the features given by the customer in the SRS document are practically implemented. After that, we move on to the testing phase. A separate team is assigned to test the product. They will thoroughly test the product, identify and raise any bugs. Once testing is completed, the product is deployed on the customer's side. Following deployment, we have the maintenance phase. So, we can say the 5th phase is deployment, and the 6th is maintenance. These are the typical stages of the SDLC that should be followed when developing any software. After SDLC phases, we will learn SDLC models. These models are descriptive representations of SDLC. We have different types of models where the approach is different, but the activities are similar to SDLC. Let's discuss some popular models now. The three popular models are the Waterfall model, the Spiral model, and the V model. We will learn each one by one. First, the Waterfall model. This was the first model introduced and is also called the linear sequential life cycle model. It's the first process model and is very easy to understand. Let's use a diagram to understand this. I've copied a diagram from the internet where all the phases are listed. We call this model a linear sequential model because the first phase is the requirement analysis phase. In this phase, we collect all the requirements from customers, and based on customer input, we create a document called SRS, Software Requirement Specification. This SRS document is created after all the discussions with the customer. Once the SRS document is ready, based on that, we design the system. So, we can say this is sequential. Firstly, we do requirement analysis and then move to the design part. Next, the SRS will be the input for the design phase. Based on the SRS, the architect will create the design of the system, and an architecture document is created. The architecture document will be the input for the implementation phase or the development phase. In this stage, the developer will write the code, integrate the code, and then perform unit testing, also known as white box testing. All the software developer work is done in the development stage. Once this stage is done, our application will be ready for testing. The application is then given to the QA team, who will test it. Once testing is done, we deploy the application. After deployment, we enter the maintenance phase. Here, all the phases execute one by one, so we also call it a linear sequential life cycle model. Every phase's output will be the input for the next phase. I hope this concept is now understood. Now, I will show you the definition of the waterfall model and its advantages. The waterfall model illustrates the software development process in a linear sequential flow. This means that any phase in the development begins only if the previous phase is complete, therefore, they don't overlap. Next, let's explore the advantages of the waterfall model. The first advantage is that it is very simple and easy to understand. The second advantage is that each phase has specific deliverables, and the review process makes it easy to manage. For example, in the requirement analysis phase, the deliverable will be the SRS. And the review will be conducted, making it easy to manage. The third advantage is that it is suitable for smaller projects. The fourth one is that, in the waterfall model, all stages are well defined. The last advantage is that all stages will be documented. Now, let's explore the disadvantages of the waterfall model. The first disadvantage is that if requirements keep on changing, then this model is not suitable. Why? Because the waterfall model follows a sequential approach. For example, once the requirement analysis is done and we move to the design phase, we cannot go back at any cost. So, once the requirement analysis stage is done, it will be frozen and won't be changed after that. The next disadvantage is that no working software is produced until late during the life cycle. This means, as I mentioned earlier, in the waterfall model, we go step by step. Without completing one stage, we cannot move to another stage. For example, we can only do testing when the development stage is fully done. Here, we cannot develop the application part by part and do testing. We have to develop the full application before testing. Because of this, a high amount of risk and uncertainty can occur. The last disadvantage is that if there is a defect in the requirement phase, it will continue in later phases also. For example, if we misunderstand any one requirement, that design will happen in the next stage, and after that, the wrong development will be done, leading to incorrect testing. The process will proceed like this. Okay, now it's time to wind up this session. We will discuss one more model called the V model in the next session. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon. It will give you notifications whenever I upload a new video. Thank you, and goodbye.